Hello, and welcome to the Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Each week, they bring you conversations with local Christian businesses and business owners. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. The Experience Local is brought to you each week by wonderful sponsors.
Copper Rock Real Estate, your commercial real estate broker in the Mid-Willamette Valley. Call Shelley Henderson at 503-881-7399. On the web, copperrockrealty.com. Join Boson Hub Digital Development in support of CASA of Lynn County. Court-appointed special advocates stand up for children. Become a CASA volunteer today. Learn more at lyncasa.org. Independent Merchant Brokers, affordable pay card processing solutions for your business or nonprofit organization. Call today at 877-460-4747. IndependentMerchantBrokers.com. The Arbor at Avamere Court in Kaiser Memory Care and Avamere at Albany Assisted Living. Arbor at AvamereCourt.com or AvamereAtAlbany.com. Discover Oregon Real Estate. Statewide experts in luxury home sales, farm and ranch, commercial, business sales, and land developments. On the web, dore.llc or call 541-250-1065.
And now, your hosts for the Experience Local, Russ and Scott.
Ta-da! Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Experience Local, live with Russ and Scott. We are so glad to be with you again today. And whether you're watching live here at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time or 11 a.m. Texas Standard Time, or you're watching on replay, or you're listening on the radio, we just want to welcome you today, this amazing community, right, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just fun to be here every Monday with you, Russ. Get to hang out. And our sponsors make it possible. Copper Rock Realty, Boson Hub supporting CASA, and the Arbor at Avamere and Avamere at Albany, the Assisted Living and Memory Care, Independent Merchant Brokers, and Discover Oregon Real Estate. Grateful to have all of them sponsoring this show each week.
Yes, we are. I mean, we're just so amazed. And we just want to remind everybody also, besides our amazing sponsors, we are also listener supported. Love for you to scan that QR code today or go to the link in the comments. We cannot do this without you. And so thank you so much for supporting us and giving us the opportunity to highlight such amazing believers in business like Joey Speten, who's going to be with us today from Summit. He is such an amazing friend and a great young man, loves the Lord. We just are so thankful for him today. But Scott, what's going on in your life this week?
Yeah, it's good to be back in Waco after traveling, and it was a busy summer, and it's good to be home. You know, it's fun to get out and see folks, family, and whatnot. But I tell you, there's just something comforting about being in my own office.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree with you. It's always nice to get away, but it's just as good to get back into routine and all of that. And so, you know, one thing that I just want to, again, let everybody know that the best way to find out more about Scott and I and all that we're doing with the experience, you can go to local.theexperience.video. You can also on there check out more information about me, my live streams, about Scott as well. But we not only have the Experience Local, but the Experience Live with Russ and Scott on Wednesdays, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. The Experience Backstage with our friend Shri at 6:30 a.m. on Instagram, only on Wednesdays. And Scott has the experience, the Waco Experience, which broadcasts on radio in Waco. And these are other opportunities to find out amazing information. So we just want to highlight those today. But everything you need is at local.theexperience.video, including subscribing to our YouTube page. But if you want to skip through and just go straight to that, you can go to theexperience.video today. It'll take you directly to our YouTube page. And we would love for you to subscribe today. That's really growing by leaps and bounds. And my Cat Maisie is definitely helping with that. She's more popular than we are, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. Never share the stage with animals or children. They will outshine you. I just want to give a shout out to Tim Sohn. He was on Marketing with Russ, and he's got the Perspective on Cancer, Showing Up Perspective on Cancer's conference coming up. And if you would like to help support Russ in being able to go there, you can also go to local.theexperience.video and click the support button. And that is going to help him be a speaker at this important event. Everybody's life has been touched by cancer. And so this is an important event coming up. So go to local.theexperience.video. You can see the contribution link right there and click and help send Russ to be a speaker and share his message of hope and inspiration.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd love to have everybody not only thank you for that, but also come to the event in Garrison, New York, October 3rd through 5th. It's going to be amazing. It's the most affordable event. It's $399, Scott. And you know what that includes? That includes the conference, that includes your food, and that includes your lodging, all for the 3rd through the 5th. It's an amazing deal.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, it is. Well, with that, let's get Joey in the room and get things started. What do you think?
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen Joey face to face, so I'm glad that we get to see him here in 2D on The Experience Local.
Hey, Joey, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. We're so grateful to have you here today. We're going to start off with the basics, Joey, and just ask you, who in the world is Joey Speten and what are you up to?
Yeah. So a fun fact about me that I always like to share, and actually it's on my LinkedIn profile, so a lot of people will sarcastically greet me with it, is that I'm apparently the only Joey Speten that exists out there. There's only about 100 or so Spetens in America, but out of all those Spetens, I'm the only Joseph or Joey. So it's a fun fact about me.
Well, that's kind of cool. You're the only Joey Speten in the world. And I share that with you because not that there's not other Scott Smiths in the world, but I am the only motivational listener in the world, which makes me the world's foremost expert on that.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. So, Joey, what are you up to on a daily, weekly basis? What's going on in your world?
Yeah, so I've been very grateful to work at a company that has allowed me the opportunity to be a husband and a father. That was always kind of my dream job growing up. Growing up, I didn't want to be like a firefighter or anything like that. Like I was willing to do just about everything. I had a lot of secondary passions or dreams, but I really wanted to someday be a husband and be a dad. And I've now got to work at Summit for about just around 11 years now, and they've allowed me that opportunity. So I started kind of at the bottom of the totem pole on the fire and cleaning crew, and then I've been able to work my way up to now be a director at the company. So I really enjoy my job, but my day-to-day is usually centered around family.
And tell us, what is a restoration company?
Yeah, so we're the company that everyone hopes to never have to call. Usually if someone's doing business with us, it's because it's one of, if not the worst time of their life, it's one of the worst times of their life. It means either their business or their home has just experienced some sort of catastrophic event, or just a major inconvenience, a bathroom flooding, a kitchen fire. And so they're needing to call a company to come in and help remedy that situation. So we're not really someone that people are like, oh, I hope I can call Joey and work with him someday, but we're here for when people need us.
Yeah, well, as a friendly person in your industry for a while, I completely understand. And you know what I really appreciated, Joey, because it is one of the toughest times in people's lives. And I can't even begin to tell you the number of times that I sat on the front step of a porch with somebody. They just needed a big hug. They needed a shoulder to cry on. Because what had just happened, their entire house had burned down, their entire house had flooded. Something had happened that was so horrible in their life. But having the opportunity to share God's love with them. And I know that you are that way. Talk a little bit about your faith and how it enters into your job.
Yeah, so I actually almost never worked at Summit because I used to remodel mobile homes with my grandfather back in the day. And it was off and on work. And it was right around the time where I was trying to pursue a more serious relationship with a certain girl. She's now my wife. But I thought that this job or that job wouldn't necessarily look super good to her father since it wasn't steady or consistent. And so I heard about Summit. My dad actually was an insurance agent at the time and had just recently come across Summit. So how about you try to work with them? I said, I'm trying to get out of construction. I really like interacting with people and having those types of conversations alongside coworkers, but also for the people I'm serving. And I'm really not finding that. In my mind, vacant mobile homes was construction. Like that's not very rewarding for me. But then getting to, I took the leap, started working at Summit and getting to be there for people in their lowest moments and being able to, like scripture says, mourn with those who mourn and rejoice with those who rejoice. And I got to live that out every single day. Was very satisfying. I mean, selfishly for me, but being able to be used by God in other people's lives and getting to have conversations that otherwise would not have occurred if I was not working at Summit and if those people hadn't experienced a very traumatic time in their life. And so it's been very cool to be able to do that. And alongside my time at Summit and slowly working my way up through the team, I've also been working on getting a certification to become a biblical counselor and serve in ministry at our church. And so those two things have very much gone hand in hand. Stuff that I've learned at Summit and being compassionate to people and walking alongside people, and sometimes just being that shoulder for them to lean on or asking questions. And then also what I've been learning in the ministry, both have very much helped feed into each other and helped me be better in both arenas of life.
I would imagine, Joey, that in your decade plus there at Summit, that you have some interesting and amazing stories to be able to share.
Yeah,
What comes to mind?
One of the ones that gets me the most emotional. So Summit, this is not an idea that I came up with. The owners came up with it shortly before I started Summit. But they had heard that the Ritz-Carlton Hotel has something where all of their employees get a credit card that they're allowed to spend to enhance the experience for the people staying at their hotel. And so they thought, oh, well, how can we do that for Summit? One, people aren't excited. People aren't getting to go stay at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. It's more like, oh no, our kitchen or our bathroom's flooding in the middle of the night. Now we got to figure out what's going on. So even though people aren't necessarily excited to get to use us, how can we still go above and beyond in our customer service? So they gave all of us employees credit cards to be able to do that with about a $200 per client to be able to just enhance that experience. So I got to do that for a single mom who had two kids. There was, and actually a different community member had let us know, like, hey, FYI, yes, she's calling you guys for this, but she's got some other things going on. So not only is she trying to work a job and parent these two kids, her older son had stomach cancer for the prior few years. And it was her younger son's birthday coming up. And so she had already felt like she'd been neglecting the younger son because of the stomach cancer. And rightfully so, she's taking care of the older son. But now she was having to decide, how do I pay this deductible for insurance? And how do I pay for a birthday party at the same time? And she was having to choose between the two. And so I got to be a part of us, and I got to deliver the birthday supplies and the birthday presents to the mom, so then the mom could give it to her son. So the son, for him, it wasn't like, oh, Summit's throwing me a birthday party. She got to throw that for him. But getting to be a part of some of those types of things, this time I didn't cry sharing that story, so that's good. I'm making progress. But those are the types of things that it's very rewarding. It's outside of, on paper, the scope of work that we're there for. But those are the things that, the reason why I've stuck around for so long.
Yeah, I think that going above and beyond and having the personal touch, that's what I love about you, Joey, is, really caring about people. And I really have always felt that you and the leadership and the ownership of Summit have felt that way about people. Even when we were working for two different companies, and when we couldn't help people, I always said, hey, another really good option is Summit. because they're a company that really cares about people. And I've really always felt that way. I know that you knew at the time because we became really good friends. And I just always think that, you know what, we're better together. We're better working and supporting each other because all ships rise from a rising tide, right? People that are together lifting instead of pulling each other down are helping each other out. And attitude is so important in all that you do. So we've talked about family. We've talked about your faith. Talk about the characteristics and attitude that are so important, not only in your business, but every business that help the people that you're trying to serve, not so much helping you and the bottom dollar, but helping the people you're trying to serve.
Yeah. So one of the things that I feel like has been most impactful for me, so for most of my life, and I continue to struggle with it to this day, though I think I've grown in it, hopefully, is being a people pleaser. And the difficult part of that is it's so easy to justify, like, well, I'm just being so gosh darn humble, and pleasing everyone around me. But it came down, at least for me, it came down to selfishness. Like I wanted other people to like me, to be appreciative of me, to recognize how humble I was or whatever attributes I was wanting. But that people pleasing meant I was very hyper focused on results. When I'd serve people or when I'd try to do good things, it meant that I was, if things didn't go the way that I thought they would, then I was crushed. And it would be hard to do it again the next time. And so I think having the attitude of why am I serving this person? It's not necessarily for those immediate results and for even them to recognize it, because sometimes people will not be thankful or grateful for what you did, or just not even necessarily be aware, or they'll be aware and think you had bad motives or think you didn't do enough. Like there's plenty of different ways that if your goal is their gratitude, then that's going to discourage you. And then I'm going to feel less motivated to serve the next person. And so having the attitude of why am I serving? And for me, it's because Jesus loved me. I want to love other people. And in that regard, then the result is going to be consistent because Jesus is consistent. He's a lot more faithful than I am. And he's a lot less fickle than humanity. But that was a hard thing for me to, one, I could say it, but then to be able to apply it to every single day of my life is difficult. But being able to continue to have that attitude or that perspective has helped a lot. And to be less discouraged when I feel like I tried to serve somebody and there was no benefit in the here and now.
Right.
And I just want to continue with with this teaching side of it. And I'll remind people that today's guest on the Experience Local with Russ and Scott, Joey Speten, husband, father, man of God, director at Summit Restoration. And you are now involved in a program of learning so that you can teach. And in the world that's obsessed with, I can learn everything on YouTube. Tell us about the program that you're involved in now and where you hope for it to go.
Yeah. So it's through ACBC. Their emphasis is how can we help people using scripture? Not that there's not other things out there that might be able to help people to make their life more comfortable or to self-improvement. But really their focus is not just, oh, how can I be a better Joey? It's more, how can Joey look more like Jesus? And how can I respond to the inevitably the bad things that are going to come into my life? How can I use those to help draw me closer to God instead of be stuck in despair or discouragement? And so that was something that I got pointed towards about 10 years ago. And again, like being the selfish people pleaser that I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to talk to anybody. I'll listen, I'll learn for myself. But it wasn't until about 4 or 5 years ago that I finally was like, you know what? I think I do want to try to help others with the stuff that I've been through in my life and the hope that I still have because of the hope that God has given in his word and through other believers that he's surrounded me with. I want to try to be that for other people as well. So then I started through the certification process. That includes a lot of reading, observation hours of other counselors, and then having to write 40 or so different exam papers that are then graded. And then the final phase, which I completed earlier this year, was to have a supervisor. My supervisor was over in Texas. And so then he would listen in or review all of my paperwork essentially, and then provide feedback. And then we'd have meetings as well. And I'd give him recaps of what's going well, what's going poorly. And he'd give constructive feedback sometimes, and sometimes encouragement. So it's been very rewarding. It's been very cool. And the most surprising part to me, again, is those results that sometimes I get hyper fixated on paper. I have had counselees come in. I thought, oh, this will be really easy. Like, this is not a major problem, out of just in my, limited experience. This is something that's very solvable. And it's too overwhelming for them. It's too difficult, and it's too scary to talk about. And so they end up walking away. And that's been hard for me to be okay with. But again, I have to trust God that, hey, at least I was able to plant a seed, and who knows how God will water that in the future. But then I've had others that have come in, and no offense to them, but on paper, like, this is going to be really tough. If I've had other people walk away, like, these people are for sure going to walk away. But I'm trying to focus on being faithful, and they've stuck around, and I've even been able to graduate them. And we went from, them saying, is there even any hope for our marriage? Or we have never been in the same room as our children for the last 2 years, and I don't think any of us are ever going to be okay with this, to then they're now still sending me pictures of, like, them and their whole family going to the rodeo with their son-in-law and their daughter. So those are the exciting ones to me, because then it helps remind me, like, from my perspective, if I got to choose who I'd invest my time in, I would not have chosen those cases. I would have chosen the really easy ones. But that would be me trying to be in control versus allowing God to use me and to use others how he wants.
That's right. Well, and I think that this defines the difference between success and significance. You are being significant in the lives of these people, situations where, and we all grow the most out of challenging circumstances, whether we're going through the circumstance or whether we're helping somebody that's going through the circumstance. Those challenges become more meaningful, more significant in life. So, Joey, if you could take the years that you have left, and you're a young man, you have a lot of years left, what is the single most significant thing that you would like to accomplish for God within that time? Because you were doing so much in business already, so much with your family, so much with all of this. What is the most important thing? And what are you looking for? What is your future goal as far as making a significant impact?
Yeah. I think the significant impact that I would hope to leave that lasts longer than me would be my kids. And I know a lot of that is out of my control, but I would want to at least get the feedback from God saying, you parented well, you didn't overstep bounds, you didn't try to be too controlling, but you laid the groundwork so that way they understood God's grace and God's love and the relationship that he desires to have with them, and that they would then be that trickle effect to others.
Yeah. Well, Scott, jump just in there and just say, I'm with you 100%, because it's amazing. Your kids are younger than mine. My little princess is 35 and my little guy is 32. And I look at the impact that God has had on their lives and through their lives. And I am just blown away by the fact that all the things that I've accomplished. And I feel like, so God has used me and my beautiful wife. We've had these two amazing children, and continues that on. And then they will have children and continue that on, and so forth and so forth. And it's just amazing how that generational impact keeps moving. Scott, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking about kids, and the problem is God didn't put a free will on-off switch on them.
Yeah.
And what have you discovered about just raising children that you would like to share with folks?
Yeah, well, like Russ said, my kids are still very young, so I can't claim to be an expert on that. It would still, I think, be that what we are in control of and what we're not in control of. Because it can be discouraging for my wife and I if we feel like, hey, today or this last month or whatever the time period is, we feel like we have been on our A game. We've knocked it out of the park with consistency and with grace, trying to understand, ask good questions to the kid, draw out their heart instead of just reprimand them all the time. And one or all of them or a handful are still struggling. Like, what is it that we're doing wrong? And being able to recognize, like, I can be, if I understand that my life and my child's life are both in God's hands and he's accomplishing what he wants to accomplish through the good things we do and through the bad things, then I can be humble and seek forgiveness for the ways that I have parented wrong. And that doesn't have to eat me up moving forward after that, because I can also know, like, my mistake was actually God trying to draw my child closer to him, saying, hey, I can be that perfectly heavenly father that your earthly father is clearly not. At the same time, when I'm striving to do good things and be a good father and understanding, compassionate father to them, knowing that that doesn't mean that they're going to react and they're going to get it right away. I don't get it right away. You know, I'm an adult. Why would I expect them to get it right away?
Right.
So being able to be more heavenly focused versus the immediate results of, if I put this into my kid, I should get this out of them. That's expecting something from them and something that I have no control over. And that leads me to despair or more extreme or just giving up parenting styles.
Right. Well, I just love your perspective, Joey. You are an amazing young man. In our last couple minutes, you want to give everybody your gold nugget of the conversation today that you want them to remember, the most important thing that you want to impact them. And number two, tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
Yeah. So one of the stepping stones for me to getting to being less of a selfish people pleaser and understanding that the results are in God's hands was the story of Gideon and how God encouraged him through that, and how it's portrayed with story of Gideon in the book of Judges is God promised, hey, we're going to do this together. And the verbiage, the picture was like both of their hands, God's hand wrapped around Gideon's hand. And so they would raise the sword and strike it together. And I think that was something that was very pivotal for me, because oftentimes I view it as like, well, I have to take that first step of faith, and then after that, God's got it from there. Or like, oh, God has to plant that spark in me, but from then on, it's my responsibility. But from this perspective, what God was promising Gideon is they're doing that first step together, and they're doing all the follow through together. And that's provided a lot of hope and encouragement to me and helped me know, like, yes, I'm responsible for what I do, but I can only do it with God's help, and the results are completely on God. And that's taken a lot off my shoulders that would usually drive me to despair or anxiety or just throw my hands in the air and like, why bother trying?
Amen.
And then, you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. Again, I'm the only Joey Speten that exists. So if you search Joey Speten, you can probably find me.
Awesome. We had your email up there too. And everybody, all the information there is clickable in the comments and the show notes, and you get right to Joey. And Joey, thank you so much. We're going to say goodbye to you here on screen, but hang tight for just a minute in the green room as we wrap up. All right.
Good to see you, Joey.
All right. Thanks, Russ. Thanks, Scott.
You bet. All right. And we
Great
are
words.
actually here. There we go.
Great words. I love the fact that Joey is telling us, be faithful, do our best, but realize the outcomes are in God's hands.
Right.
And it does, as he says, that takes a huge burden off of us.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, for sure. Well, today I just want to thank everybody for being with us and listening to these really wise words from Joey today and Scott. And I am just thankful to be here with them. And don't forget, we're here at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 11 a.m. Texas Standard Time every week for your viewing and listening pleasure. That's right. After we do this, it sits on LinkedIn and YouTube forever, Facebook for 30 days. And then it converts to audio podcast on Spotify. And it also broadcasts on KWIL and KYKN in Oregon. And we would love for you to listen, comment, like on wherever works best for you. And until next week, I wanted to also just throw in one more time. Don't forget the experience, local.theexperience.video is the best place to find everything. I'm going to put that up there. There we go. And until next week, thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you. Have a blessed and amazing week. See ya. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next time on The Experience Local with Russ and Scott.